Hello everyone! Feeling spiffy? That is how I have begun every Overwatch competitive match since Season 5 started. And that's from Fairy Tail, by the way, though I feel like shouting Genki Saikyo into the mic might not have been received as well. I can never tell how people are gonna react to weeb speak. Anyway, at time of recording, I'm currently looking at like an 80% win rate among those matches, and I'm sure that all it will take at this point is just one more good push and I will have beat my career high. That's the power of positivity, people. Now granted, it's quite likely that's just correlational. Maybe my teams are just that good. Maybe I'm just that good. But I know I didn't imagine having a rip-roaring time with my temporary comrades. We were making each other laugh. We got our brains just linked or something, and even what few losses I've experienced thus far were mitigated by the fact that I knew everyone was busting their hump together. My one-liner alone wasn't enough to cause that change, but it may have helped people feel like they could have made certain choices to enable that glorious chemistry to grow. In one instant, I signal that I am pleasant, that I am ready to be a team player, and that we are gonna have some fun. The reason for this change was in response to a certain unfortunate player archetype I keep seeing. Fans who've seen my Learning Video Games series will remember that I bashed on length on the Armchair General. A disrespectful, sleepy-voiced know-it-all who sucks the drive out of the team with their demanding behavior, their pessimism, their incessant whining, and most egregious, their eagerness to assign blame on their teammates. To hear them rail on, if you make a mistake, you're basically a bad person. Like you obviously must be doing it to be mean to them or something. No chance there's something happening in your house, or that frantic action can be taxing on the brain, or that there's a game mechanics explanation for why that happened if I took 2 seconds to consider the hypotheticals. Nope, they don't waste time on that. You're inconveniencing me, and therefore I get to make you feel like absolute crap. Guys like this can suck the morale right out of a team like an emotional vampire. And they don't even realize that it's probably the most counterproductive thing you can do if you're serious about winning. They don't realize that undermining your team's unity and confidence can fracture a team and their rhythm and ultimately make them lose the game. I had to think of a way to explicitly explain that! But after playing many an Overwatch match, I realize now that the advice I gave in that episode was incomplete. If someone is really bad, you should absolutely confront them and kick them if need be, but that alone is not enough. In fact, maybe that shouldn't even be your focus. The Armchair General is a person too. They're probably having a really crappy time in their lives right now, which is making them act that way. It doesn't excuse their behavior, to be sure, but you might not accomplish anything if you seem like just another obstacle in their lives. I realized that if I wanted positivity to return to my matches, I had to take everything I hated about that kind of attitude and go straight in the other direction. Flexible, encouraging, determined, and able to roll with the punches. Not Armchair General, but Armchair REINHARDT! If you want to know the kind of mood to set, just go listen to REINHARDT talk for a little while. For those of you who don't know, REINHARDT is this giant German knight with an enormous hammer and energy shield in Overwatch, whose role is to guard his comrades from enemy fire. When Overwatch fell, the knight's code that REINHARDT adhered to fell out of fashion. His comrades were labeled criminals, and the world moved on without them. By rights, this guy should be super depressed. Instead, he pulled a full-blown Don Quixote. This guy is like manically happy, maybe because he has to be, but that doesn't make it any less infectious. He's always eager to get into the next fight, no matter how tough, and help his comrades feel like they're achieving something great. We should be careful around here. We can't draw too much attention. Come on out, you bastards! I'll fight every last one of you! When he dies and respawns, he comes back all, again! Again! REINHARDT, maybe you should retire soon. Never! I will fight to my last breath! And most importantly, does REINHARDT ever have a bad thing to say about his team? Ever? Reaper? Meh. Roadhog? Meh. Instead, he's just gabbing with his chums about the good old days. I think the biggest gripe he's ever made is how Torbjorn is occasionally grumpy, or how he doesn't get the kids today with their techno music. Why don't people listen to Hasselhoff anymore? There is a reason so many people like REINHARDT. He aspires to be a bloody paragon of virtue, and he ended up being exactly the kind of teammate people always want to work with. Everything, from his aesthetic to his gameplay mechanics, practically shouts, "I am here for my comrades!" That's the kind of person I try to be on mic. I'm always eyeing the kill feed in downtime for fantastic plays by comrades so that I can tell them what a boss they are. When I get rezzed, healed, teleported, etc., I'm quick to thank my comrades for their aid. I don't order people or assume they'll just do what I say. Instead, I just call out every danger I see and trust that while I'm handling one or two of them, the team will know what to do with the rest. And of course, if I see someone getting picked on by aforementioned foe general, I defend my teammates and swiftly change the conversation to, "Wow, you are doing an amazing job. Keep it up." And if someone wants to play something that's not necessarily meta, like whatever, they're having fun and they're probably great with that character. The game isn't chess. There's no perfect way to win. It's high-intensity craziness with an assortment of random factors. I'd rather have a boss widow on my team than someone who doesn't know how to play Mercy, getting drawn into a self-defeating cycle in which they fail repeatedly, feel like crap, and fail more because of it. 2 days prior to recording this, I just had a slew of the most manic, laugh-a-minute, yet marvelously coordinated games that I've ever experienced this year. One game, there was like never a moment's rest in the action. Both teams were super on point and rapid fire. My team and I called out what we saw and we trusted our mates to handle the rest. When things went wrong, nobody dwelled on it, nobody even assigned blame. They just went right on into the next play. We barely pulled through and it was undoubtedly the most fun I've had in a long while. In one arcade game, a kid told the team, "Come on guys, I'm so close to getting the loot box." I could have totally just rolled my eyes at that. Like, yes kid, when I logged on today, I totally thought to myself, I'm all about getting a random stranger a loot box. Instead I just went, "For the loot box!" And suddenly people were laughing, and suddenly it was a joke. And suddenly we were friends laughing and joking and fighting together, and then boom, we won. In 2 other games, we had a few defense fails, and some of my mates were already taking it for granted that we were going to lose. Letting that feeling fester can be a danger to the entire team, as the seeds of doubt are planted, so I stepped in with some encouragement. It ain't over yet, but they got the last point. They didn't get the one that matters. That one was a win. The other game was similar. Last point, almost everyone is dead, seems like a lost cause, guys are sounding resigned, but I was playing Mercy, and I had my res. As I went for it, I shouted a one-liner, "I refuse to let you give up!" And I don't know if you've seen Mercy's ultimate, but it's this shiny, eminent, almost divine thing that calls everyone back with the legendary, "Heroes never die!" So I knew that the right line in combination with those visuals could drive people on if they were in the right mood for it. We managed to beat them back, but the poor guy wasn't convinced yet because we still had to beat them off for 5 minutes. So I totally butchered one motivational poster in the best way. "All you need is a stick and you can beat up the entire world with determination!" Just like that, they were laughing. They weren't drifting into the mire of despair. And we pulled through with a draw, which meant that nobody had to lose SR. But, you may still have frustrating moments, and at the end of the day, you simply cannot control other people. But ripping into them to make them feel worse is most certainly not going to help the team. That is going to make things worse. Trust me. You've just got to learn to take a breath, shout a cheesy one-liner, and launch yourself back into the fray. Which honestly is kind of a good life skill in general. But you know what? Even if I don't win the game at the end, I remember every time I've made people laugh. Every time the room got to the point where everyone was laughing and making each other laugh while working together to face down a challenging onslaught. That's what we play the game for, isn't it? Every time I have a match like that, I know it's a good game. That is always the game I want to see. That is the Valhalla that I someday want to witness with my own eyes. All it takes is to bring that game in the way you communicate. I feel like anyone using a mic has a responsibility to use it to maintain that manic, zippy, fun atmosphere. These are not NPCs, not components of your game that aren't quite working out. These are people trying to have a good time, like you. And for a short time, these are your friends. You have to let them know that. It may be a small thing, but if we ever hope to see humanity unified one day, we just have to bring that attitude. Bring it into being just with our actions and with our die-hard optimism. So never doubt the power of a kind word to help people bring out their best. It is more important than you know. Now get out there and start providing some jolly cooperation, y'all. So, thank you all for tuning in. Please comment and subscribe if you want to see more content like this. And remember, you all have the potential to get good. Peace out.